Hi parent, what if I tell you the success that you desire for your children after they receive a decent education is unlikely to happen after they graduate from college? Why? Because today's job market has changed so much, whereas the current education system has not changed that much. There is a big gap. So how did I know this? I know this because I spent more than 2 decades in education, from my personal experience, K-12, undergraduate, master, PhD, and more than a decade serving at different universities, colleges as a college professor. So after more than 2 decades, I discovered a very important and surprising discovery, which is that to succeed in school versus succeeding in real life, your kid will need a different set of skills and mindset. So in other words, to succeed in school versus succeeding in real life, they require a different set of skills and mindset. This literally took me 20 years to discover. I wish I knew this when I was a student. That's why I'm really excited to share this with you so that you don't have to, or your kid doesn't have to spend 20 years to figure out the differences to succeed, the differences between succeeding in school versus succeeding in life, so that they can change, they can develop their skills intentionally right now, so that by the time they graduate from college, they're ready for life, they're ready for work. And I believe this is probably one of the most important videos that I'm going to publish on my YouTube channel. So make sure you watch until the end, because every single difference, I will be sharing with you 11 differences in terms of the skills required, the mindset required to succeed in school versus succeeding in life. So 11. Every single one of those 11 differences, if you can really apply them right now, your kid, by the time they graduate from college, not only they can succeed in school, but also they can succeed in life. They can become truly unstoppable, unleash their potential, and achieve the success they deserve. Okay, so who am I to talk about this? My name is Dr. AI. I'm an award-winning professor turned life coach. I specialize in serving teenagers and young adults, helping them overcome procrastination, overcoming self-doubt, enhancing their executive functioning skills so that they can reclaim, elevate their confidence and motivation, and so that they can achieve success in school and in real life. So without any further ado, let's get started. So 11 differences. Let's get started with the first one. Bum, 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 bum. So the first one, right? To succeed in school versus succeeding in life. The first difference between those two arenas in life is in terms of mindset. So for you, in order for your kid to succeed in school, they cannot have a fixed mindset, meaning that they are very afraid of making mistakes. So their whole intention is don't mess up, mistakes are bad, don't mess up. So that is the mindset. They are really afraid of mistakes, so very fixated on achieving a single goal. However, to succeed in real life, you cannot apply that. So you must adopt a growth mindset. You must accept that you don't have all the answers. And actually, one of my favorite books talks about this is this one by John Maxwell. And the title of the book is Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn. So that is the mindset that your kid needs to have in order to succeed in real life. Learn as you go, not this fixed mindset, don't mess up. And you probably hear this a lot from your kid. I don't want to mess things up. I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to mess it up. However, in real life, you have to mess things up sometimes, oftentimes, and that is okay. And that is how we learn, not how we lose. The second difference in terms of succeeding in school versus in real life is in terms of motivation. So in the school environment, motivation largely comes from external incentives. Your children's academic performance, approvals from parents, from teachers, awards, and certificates, mostly external driven. However, to succeed in real life, this motivation is largely internal. Like myself, I'm doing this YouTube video and I run my business, I run my coaching company. Nobody no longer examines me, right? I no longer receive any tests. I don't do those things anymore. However, I'm more motivated, I'm more passionate. I hope you can tell. I'm more passionate, I'm more excited about my job more than ever. This to me is no longer a job that I'm waiting for someone to come evaluate me, give me a score. This is a calling. This is a calling. My mission in life, as I have shared on this channel quite a few times, is to serve 10,000 young people. And I already served almost 3,000. I still have 7,000 that I want to serve. So this comes from internally. And I truly believe God put me here to fulfill my mission. So even though, especially after I quit my job as a college professor, there was no longer external evaluations, raise, promotion for me. There was nothing external anymore to keep me going. Everything comes to me internally. And it is such a great feeling. And every day from Monday to Sunday, I'm super excited to get up to do what I love. Huge difference. So the third difference is a success formula. So to succeed in school versus succeeding in life, you will need two different formulas for success. To succeed in school, you just need to follow the rules, right? And as a parent, you probably share this with your children a lot. Hey, listen, just listen to your teachers, follow instruction, follow orders, follow the syllabus, right? Just be a good listener, just be obedient. And like we talk like that a lot, and that is the message that our children receive. So that is the success formula. Just do what your teachers ask you to do. That's it. And however, to succeed in life, you will need to be a good problem solver. Nobody's going to solve problems for you. And also, you will need to be able to take initiatives. And to me, that's why I underscore this. Take initiatives is the biggest missing link or quality in current undergraduates, college graduates. And I have read so much research talking about how Gen Z college graduates are not work ready. And one of the reasons that they are not work ready is because they're always waiting for someone to tell them what to do, because that is what they are used to doing when they are students. And now all of a sudden, right, when they have that overnight transition, the day before I was a student, the day after my commencement, all of a sudden I am an employee, I'm a working professional. But the title transition, it is a lot easier for them than actually the internal transition in terms of those habits, how they think, how they do things. And when most people, young people are students, they do not need to take initiatives. However, a big part to succeed in any job, entry level, mid-level, like senior level, to succeed in any job, in any position, your kid, a young person, must be able to take initiatives. But they can't because they are not prepared. They haven't learned how to do that. I try to make this more fun for you. And difference number 4 is this is something I'm really passionate about, is the role of failures in life. Okay? So to succeed in school, ask your children, or maybe you have observed this in your children already. To succeed in school, our children are conditioned to believe that if I want to be a good student, I just need to avoid failures at all costs. Failure is bad, right? So in fact, if a kid receives a few Fs in their transcript, this kid is likely to be kicked out of school, right? Like, you're such a bad student. What's wrong with you? Like, really nothing wrong with you. Some people learn slower. Some people learn faster. And we all learn very, very differently. But the current education model, there's only one way to learn. There's only one way to evaluate our students. When you do not fit, or your kid doesn't fit into that one way of learning and being evaluated, we feel like there's something wrong with our kid. But that is really inaccurate, right? And so young people, they really have developed this is very similar to mindset that I'm afraid of failing. I don't want to fail. And this is something that I work very closely with the young people in my coaching program. Many of them, actually, a big reason they joined my coaching program is because they are afraid of failures, mistakes. They don't want to mess up. They don't want to fail. They don't want to get bad grades, right? That is the role of failure, really bad, avoid at all costs. However, in real life, you almost cannot succeed without failing. And I have read enough books and many books about successful people who are leaders, visionaries, and in almost every single book I read, there is a chapter on failures and mistakes. And I personally have not met a very successful person who has never ever failed in their entire life. So failure is really part of success. Failure is part of the journey, right? Like this book I mentioned, and sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. There's really no failure. There's only feedback. So to succeed in life, you need to have a healthy relationship with the role of failures in life. You need to appreciate them. You need to be able to see the lessons, the feedback beyond the failure, right? The lessons beyond the failure. That is a huge difference. This is a common challenge I see in lots of young people. They don't have the resilience to fail, and after they fail, they don't have the resilience to continue going without making the failures feel really personal, like I'm a failure, I'm a mistake. So I hope you are enjoying this. If you are getting any value, let me know in the chat box. And number 5, the fifth difference in terms of succeeding in school versus succeeding in real life is about, So number 5 is about time management. So to succeed in school, we just need to trust our teachers, right? You can see as I continue explaining this table, the list, and in the traditional school environment, like teachers really play a very important role, and teachers are doing most of the job because it is the teachers who are doing most of the jobs. Our students do not have enough opportunities to really do the job on their own, to practice taking ownership, taking initiatives. So in terms of time management for in the school environment, it is largely driven by deadline. You have this due, you have this paper due, you have this exam due, you have this quiz due, you have this presentation due. So you have to do a little bit time management, but largely it is already managed for you. You just need to follow the instruction, be a good student, and be obedient. Look at the syllabus, block your calendar. You know exactly what time, which day, which assignment is due. You don't have to think much regarding prioritization. However, in real life, you can be bombarded. Even as a young working professional, you can be bombarded with dozens of tasks. It seems like all of the tasks are really, really important. How can you discern which one deserves the highest priority, which one is not really a big deal? So that is time management, prioritization. So that is a very important skill that a young person needs to develop to succeed in real life. In real life, you don't really have a teacher who tell you, this is due on this day. You may have a supervisor, but they are giving you deadlines on a very large scale. The smaller project, the smaller pieces, you have to figure it out on your own. Okay? We are halfway through the list. Number 6. Number 6 is communication. Again, this is my favorite one. To succeed in school, in terms of communication skills, you just need to listen to the teacher, sit still, and quietly and listen. And if you have to speak up, you do this. Even when you go to the bathroom, right? You raise your hand and you wait for your turn. Yeah, am I right? However, in real life, you don't always do this. In real life, you have to speak up. You have to advocate for yourself. Otherwise, as a minority, and I know this, oftentimes I am that invisible worker. If I don't advocate for myself, if I don't speak up, I am literally invisible. People don't see me. It happened to me so many times that I just kind of normalized it. But it is good because this condition inspired me to learn to speak up and to advocate for myself and to network and to persuade others, right? So one of my business coaches, I learned this concept from him, and he coined this term ABS, always be selling. And I really learned that not only in terms of business, but on a daily basis. This is something I never ever learned when I was a student. I was always doing this. I was that good student. I just sat there, quietly listen to my teacher and wait for my turn. So ABS, always be selling. And even right now, I'm selling my ideas. I'm selling those 11 points to you. I'm selling my YouTube channel to you. And when you're a kid, when they are looking for a job, when they are looking for an internship, they are selling who they are. They are selling who they are as a whole package. When they have a business idea, they are selling their product, their product, their ideas. ABS, always be selling. But unfortunately, this is a skill, this communication skill is not what many young people are learning in the traditional classroom. We practice a lot about sitting quietly, do not ever challenge authority, just listen. Most of the time, your teachers know what they're talking about, don't really challenge them, don't really question them, just listen, sit quietly. That doesn't really prepare you, empower you with the communication skills that your kid will need in order to succeed in real life, especially in the early days of their professional career. They have to speak up. Oh, we are going to number 7, and I'm really curious which of them you think resonates the most with you when you are observing this in your children. And number 7 is creativity. So to succeed in school, you really do not need much creativity. Again, you just need to follow the instruction. Most exams have one correct answer. You just need to figure out what is that correct answer, do what your teachers are asking you to do. That's it, right? You don't have to disrupt, you don't have to innovate, you don't have to do lots of outside box thinking. You actually cannot have to stay inside the box, do what you are told, right? And I have, because I work with Adobe as an Adobe education leader, and I really appreciate what Adobe Education is doing. Their mission is to foster creativity in the classroom and beyond. And because so much research has shown that the traditional classroom environment, right, there's always a standardized exam, there's always a standardized answer to most of the questions. Because this type of teaching and evaluation, and many young people are losing their creativity. So I'm going to share with you some of the research. So for example, here, I hope you can see, this is an article published in The Guardian, and talking about how schools are killing creativity. It is a really great article, used lots of examples talking about how school is killing creativity. And here's another one. The number 1 watched TED Talk is by Sirkin Robbins here. And the title is Do School Kill Creativity? And the answer is yes. So TED Talk, the number 1 watched TED Talk, you can check it out. And this TED Talk received almost 79 million views. And if I can mention myself, so I also had the great honor to do a TEDx talk, which is also featured on the MenTED platform. So here I discuss school is obsolete. So I'm not anti-education. And feel free, I will link all the talks in the chat box, in the description box. I'm not anti-education, but in my talk, I did point out some of the missing links in education. So the conclusion is that school is limiting our children's creativity. But in this day and age, in order to succeed in real life, you will need critical thinking and creative thinking and creative problem solving, right? So school is really convergent thinking, meaning that everything has a one correct answer. And in real life, it's really divergent thinking, different answers, different perspectives, really thinking outside the box, asking questions like, what if? How about this? That you don't really get to practice a lot in the standardized education environment, but it is a very important skill. And number 8 is decision making. And to succeed in school, decision making is largely done by school leaders, policymakers, and they decide which day you should come to school, what are the classes you need to take, in what order, what are the assignments you need to do. And in fact, when I was a college professor, the most commonly asked questions from my students was, Dr. I, will this question be on the exam? And I'm not even blaming the students. When I was a student, I did the same thing. If this question were on the exam, I was going to study. If this question was not on the exam, no, I had better things to do, right? You probably did the same thing. So in the school environment and in terms of decision making, you don't really have to make lots of decisions. You just have to follow the decisions made by school leaders, teachers, parents. However, in real life, you have to make lots of decisions. You have to decide what to pursue, what to not pursue. You have to decide what are really the important projects that can actually advance your goals, your personal aspirations. You have to learn to decide what to say yes to, what to say no to. You have to do lots of decision making on a daily basis. What internships, what jobs, what projects, my supervisor did something to me. Should I say yes? Should I report? You have to do lots of decision making. But this, again, is not a skill that your kid gets to practice a lot in the traditional school environment. Number 9, we have only 2 more left. Number 9 is confidence source, meaning source of confidence. And so in the school environment, a young person feels confident largely because of their academic performance, a highly performance-driven, very external-driven. However, confidence in real life comes a lot with self-awareness. And this, again, I work with lots of young people who come to me who don't feel good about who they are, even though they have achieved so much in life, or they haven't achieved much in life, they don't feel good about who they are. They are feeling very self-insecure, and everything is very external driven, right? And, going back to the school, it is not uncommon. A young person, a young student, their self-worth is based on their academic performance. When they do really well in an exam, they feel, I feel good. When they don't do well, they feel like, I'm a failure, I'm a piece of crap. So really fluctuate based on their academic performance. And that is a recipe for disaster, right? It is not really going to help them have long-term self-confidence. And so self-confidence comes when you really understand who you are, your superpowers, and your weaknesses. I will give you a very simple analogy that I use with my students all the time. For example, you're watching this video right now. If I say, hey, listen, you are a piece of orange. You're like, what? Are you crazy, Dr. I'm not an orange, right? So just listening to me telling you that you are an orange, you wouldn't feel like, that shattered my confidence. No, because 100% you are not orange. You are a solid human being. So that is my point. When your kid really understands who they are and who they are not, they build that confidence. And especially if they can pursue a task, a career that is in alignment with their superpowers. And that is exactly what I help the young people do and discover in my coaching program, discover who they are and build that alignment between what they pursue and who they are. And their confidence is going to be unlocked. Very powerful. And number 10, well, only one more. Da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. And number 10 is, okay, here, is problem solving, okay? And so again, in school, you don't have to practice lots of problem solving, kind of, because all the teachers, I was a teacher for so many years, we kind of already figured things out. You just need to follow the instruction. You just need to follow the formula. Every single project, when I was a teacher, when I just started teaching 20 years ago, my syllabus was like 2 pages. But as I continued on my teaching journey, my syllabus became like 10 pages, 20 pages, 30 pages, because students, they are requesting like more rubric, more samples, and benchmarks. They want to know exactly what they need to do so that they do not make any mistake. So they do not have to practice lots of problem solving. If they are good at copying other people's success, they can be a good student. However, in real life, there are so many things that are uncertain in real life, especially with AI, technology. So young people, they must build their tolerance or their ability to adapt to uncertainty in life, because career comes with uncertainty. As much as we can prepare our children or they can prepare themselves, life comes with uncertainty. But if a young person is always so used to certainty, they are going to be ill prepared for real life. Again, this is what I see in young people a lot. Many of them, they have to wait until all the pieces, all the puzzles figured out, and then they will do something, but that is unlikely to happen because of technology, disruption, and innovation. You just need to accept and adapt, right? What do I say? Even like college, lots of the things that a young person is learning in school today will likely to become obsolete by the time they graduate from college. So knowledge, can expire, but our ability to tolerate uncertainty, that is a very important lifelong skill, doesn't expire. Last but not least is leadership. So to succeed in school, you don't have to do much leadership things. I mean, of course, it's great, right? You can lead a club, you can be a leader in this club, that club. It is all great. But if you are just talking about to succeed in your academic studies, it's not really required that you have to be a leader in order to be a good student. No, it is a great thing to have, but it is not necessary. However, in real life, you have to be able to lead. You have to be able to lead yourself and to lead others. Like myself, as a life coach, the very first person I must be able to coach is myself. The very first person I must be able to lead is myself before I can coach my students, before I can lead my team members. So there's a lot more ownership, urgency, and agency in what I do as a working professional and as a leader. So this is a very important skill to succeed in real life, especially that self-leadership skill, that self-ownership skill, very, very important. Okay, so those are the 11 skills that really help you understand the differences between succeeding in school and succeeding in real life. And I really hope this video help you see and understand the gap between school success and real life success. That's why I'm really honored and excited and proud of myself for creating a life coaching program that is here to close the gap between succeeding in school versus succeeding in real life. This is something that I wish I had when I was a student. Even after I got my PhD, I was like, I was not prepared for life. I was a good student. I did all of this. I was a great student. I had lots of awards. Next time I will show you some. I received so many awards, but I was so not prepared for real life. And that's why, I'm so passionate about teaching this to you, to my students, so that they can learn to close the gap. So that by the time your kid graduates from high school or college, they are ready for real life success. I think that is the goal for most parents. Not doing school for the sake of doing school, but using school as a vehicle to achieve real life success. If you are interested in having your teenager or young adult work with me one-on-one to really learn how they can close the gap between school learning and real life success, in the description box, you are invited to apply and book a complimentary consultation with me. I will be the person reviewing your application and speak with you on Zoom to give you constructive feedback regarding your children's situation and tell you more about my coaching program. And